We were taking the biggest risks and everything just worked. It was like just magic. I knew we were never gonna beat that. It's all downhill from here.
Hey everyone, I'm Lily.
And I'm Elisa, and we're the mother and daughter co-founders of StyleLikeU.
We're here again for another episode of our weekly therapist debriefs with Hasu Joe, where we will be unpacking the latest episode of our What's Underneath Masculinity series with the incredible Steve-O. For those of you who have not watched the episode, pause this, head over to our YouTube channel to watch his What's Underneath episode. And if you want to listen to the longer 1 hour audio only interview, you can do so at the Man Enough podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Hi, Hasu. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your biggest takeaway was from watching Steve-O's episode?
Legacy. What is it that you leave behind?
We're all gonna die, but I've got these videos that are gonna live forever.
He was so in touch with his mortality, filming videos of himself doing things that were actually challenging his life. If people are feeling that existential crisis, what advice would you give to them?
I'm not encouraging people to live a life that the ultimate goal is to be remembered in a specific way after they die. It's rather like, if you're feeling good about the life that you're living while you're alive, I think that's actually more important for you on an individual level.
I was not very well equipped to keep a normal job. I dropped out of college and I just thought, oh man, like I'm gonna become a crazy famous stuntman. And everybody who I told this plan to felt genuinely sorry for me.
Do you have any advice for someone struggling to find a sense of purpose in their life?
I think we can all relate to that sense of, I am lost. I don't even know what direction I'm going in for next week. If that's someone's experience, first I want them to know that it's totally normal. I don't think that there's any milestone age that one must have figured things out. But if you're unsure of where to start, live life, whatever that means, finding new and engaging ways to participate in your own life. Pushing yourself beyond the comfort level of routine. Some routines, some habits are very healthy, but some habits that develop over life turn into ruts that we definitely get stuck in.
That's such a good point.
Incredible growth comes after some intentional discomfort.
I didn't really feel that I found my purpose until I was in my early 50s. I really had a complete new beginning.
For Steve-O, I think that one of the reasons he's been able to stay in a sense of purpose throughout his life, he's also like you, Mom. He's been so incredible at being willing to be a beginner again. Once Jackass, the show that he was known for, ended, he was willing to start learning a new craft, which was to be like a stand-up comic, and he had to fail a bunch of times in order to find his new stride.
When I get rejected, it hurts my feelings, it pisses me off, and it gets me very motivated.
Do you see the fear to be a beginner being a hindrance for a lot of people to doing something that maybe feels more purposeful?
Fears of so many things definitely holds people back. And sometimes it's for good reason. You know, this idea of stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing something completely different. It's easy for me to say that in theory, but the reality is not everybody has access to that. Not everybody has the financial means or the position in their current life circumstance to just throw it all away and start over somewhere new. You know, something about Steve-O, he did something that many people won't do, and I think that's okay, which is taking on the idea when you're a beginner that you may not have comfort in your life. Sometimes when you want to follow your passions, people are not going to believe in you. You're not always going to have investment of time, energy, and money to help you on this journey. Now, if you're in a negative space right now because of the direction your life is going in, I think all signs kind of point to needing to change the direction, assuming a level of risk. Some things that people can consider doing is weighing those fears out with the level of distress and discomfort that they're currently experiencing by not changing their life. And what are the potential benefits of changing something up?
All right, so I'm going to pivot topic-wise now and talk about what kind of the crux of Steve-O's healing journey has been all about, which is his varying forms of addiction.
Once I had a foundation in sobriety, I found myself really acting out sexually a lot.
Steve-O's struggled both with sex addiction as well as drug and alcohol addiction. Where would you suggest someone begins that's grappling with struggles in that way?
Unfortunately, there is not an answer that fits everybody, and this is why
Mm-hmm.
this epidemic of addiction continues on for decades across cultures. But when somebody has addictive behavior towards something, it's usually towards something that is making them feel good. If not making them feel good, making them feel numbed, needing to not feel. Oftentimes, it's the crux of the issue for anyone that's seeking out some kind of substance, behavior, relationship.
I had like major trauma around my mom, who had suffered an aneurysm and survived it, but heinously disabled both physically and mentally. And it was like suffering that shouldn't exist. And I just like felt very angry.
A lot of people can't even articulate why they keep reaching for the X, Y, and Z, where the craving is coming from, what is it that they're getting out of it. Therapy is an option, but I'd be remiss if we're talking about addiction treatment and we don't bring up things like AA, NA, all these anonymous groups. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it's super effective for a lot of people, especially those that have nobody to turn to. It's about setting you up with a lifeline. You have your craving, and instead of reaching for the bottle, you reach for your phone and reach out to the sponsor. And a lot of times the cravings will come up because that's when you're feeling the worst and you're trying to not feel that way. How does one get to a point where they're not reaching for the bottle and instead they're able to sit and be and exist with that feeling? Part of it can become a regular practice on your own after you've had some support of somebody else, like your sponsor, for example.
Feeling the feeling that you have unconsciously been avoiding or afraid to feel. It's a great feeling to actually feel the core feeling and the original feeling. It's a relief.
A lot of folks that have struggled with addiction, once they've been clean and sober for X amount of time, I've heard very similar things like, it actually feels amazing now that I can feel. I haven't been clear-headed in years. He's making me feel human.
Right.
Even if it's not something that seems as potentially extreme as like drugs and alcohol, I think we're all turning to something to just not have to feel.
We do things like consume drugs, but also do things like shopping or scrolling and looking at nice things that make us feel good for a moment. How else would one combat grave sadness?
And what would your advice be in terms of feeling the feeling?
So that they maybe aren't so hard.
I wish I had like an all-encompassing
Yeah,
answer, but it's not something generally that's going to happen overnight. Being able to sit with your feelings, be with your feelings, but that kind of practice does come from a space of intention. So if you have not been able to achieve even beginning this journey on your own, I hope people would take this as an encouragement to reach out for support, to lean on other people, whether it's their existing social support system or finding the community.
Now I was in this world of recovery where everything's about deflating the ego. And like, how the fuck does being Steve-O from Jackass jive with that?
It's really having to, use this cliche phrase, unlearn all this stuff that you trained your psyche and your body to believe, which is feelings are bad, emotions are bad, they're dangerous.
It's unsafe. Yeah.
Yeah. And unlearning that is scary because you're now confronting what used to be something that you really had to protect yourself against, which can feel really counterintuitive.
So true.
But at the end of the day, it's your body craving to heal, and you have to trust that. That's what it was for me.
Learning how to like reparent my inner child has been such an important part of the journey and a way for me to make friends with the feelings that are hard, because I can also recognize that like my adult self is capable of handling it.
Then you have the kind of breakthrough that Steve had.
My mission was to become the man that the love of my life deserves.
My mom and I, when we were doing the interview, we both were like, I like wrote it on my hand. I was like, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. But I feel like we're kind of taught you should only be motivated by your own self-worth and self-love. And I'm just curious, what do you think about that?
That's a very Western way of thinking. The idea to do something for the collective, for my family, for me to seek out wellness and health because it's going to do good for my greater community. This is the way a lot of the world actually thinks. So there is a lot of value in working on things about ourselves with the idea that it's going to be beneficial for somebody else in our lives. And for some people, it's a great place to start because being able to say, I want to do this for my own personal development, a lot of people can't even access that yet, and that's okay. So it's a way to get things moving in some kind of direction. If we can find internal motivation for the collective community, that's much better than having no internal drive at all.
It gets you to the same place.
Yeah. Life and how we move through it, there is no one correct way. There's like thousands, if not millions, billions of paths. And the one thing that connects all of us in this thought is love.
It's just what's one is in the whole and what's whole is in the one.
If you want to improve to be a better person for the person that you love or the people that you love, to me seems like it's coming from a place of worth in yourself as well.
Eventually, all that effort to be good in their eyes will turn into I'm good in my eyes too.
I love that. Wow. Okay. Jesus, thank you so much. I feel like I need to go like write in my journal 50 things that you just said that are so applicable to every part of life. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. I could do this forever with you.
And thank you to Sivo and all of these, male presenting folks, like being so open about stuff that's not easy to talk about while getting into your underwear.
Yeah, thank you, Stevo. If you were inspired by anything that you heard and want to take your own healing to the next level, we recommend that you give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online and it's designed to be convenient and flexible and completely suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time without any additional charge.
If you're interested, go to betterhelp.com/what'sunderneath for 10% off your first month of therapy.
That's betterhelp.com/what'sunderneath.